There's a lot of insects in this movie. You thought I was going to say bugs, didn't you? I'm SirDinosaur from Planet X, and now it's time for a movie review. So yeah, this movie is about bugs. That may not be much of a surprise to you because this movie is called A Bug's Life. You might think, why would I want to watch a movie about bugs? That doesn't sound fun. Bugs are gross. Yuck! But actually, this movie is pretty cool. Trust me on this one. The story begins with a bunch of ants. They live in a big ant hill at the foot of a big tree, and they're all harvesting food. Most of them get grain, although some of them get grapes. They seem rather out of sorts when a leaf falls into their path, so they gotta improvise all of a sudden. It looks almost like they're putting together some kind of big offering. Meanwhile, the queen is getting old, so she's training her daughter Princess Ada to be her replacement. But Princess Ada is pretty nervous and high-strung, and nervous about the first time she will supervise when the grasshoppers show up. The queen says, "They come, they eat, they leave." And she says it like that's just the way things are and there's nothing anyone can do about it. Also, Princess Ada has a little sister named Dot who wants to grow up too fast and fly and stuff since the other ant kids give her a hard time. But the queen says, "Yo, Dot, don't try to fly until your wings come in all the way." While Ada is hovering over people, she gets flattened by a stalk of grain. Turns out there's this brainy ant named Flick who's made this newfangled machine that harvests grain more effectively. Seems like the harvesting part works well, but at the end, the machine chucks the wheat stalk high in the air, and that's pretty dangerous. Flick gets lectured by several ant leadership guys about how he should just be like everybody else and pick grain off the stalks and get in line. Flick doesn't like getting lectured. Afterwards, he and Dot bond because they both are different and getting hectored by older ants. Then it's time for the grasshoppers to show up, so all the ants go into the anthill to hide. Flick is running late because he trips due to a machine malfunction, so he's in a rush. And you know what happens when people are in a rush? They make mistakes, and accidents happen. So of course, when Flick dumps his machine full of grain on the offering leaf in order to get out of there, his machine goes off by itself and knocks a stone out of the very flimsy structure under all this food, and it all falls off a cliff. Whoops. So the grasshoppers show up, and in the anthill they're all scared. But it should be fine, right? Because they come, they eat, they leave. But there's nothing to eat. So the grasshoppers all invade the anthill and they're really mad. The leader grasshopper named Hopper gets extra mad when his hench bug Molt is being a goofy knucklehead. He makes this big exasperated speech where he sounds like a mafia goon because he's all like, "Oh, if you don't give us free food, then we can't protect you from those bigger bugs out there who could take advantage of you." He makes his point even further by picking up Dot and scaring her by holding her close to a scary, crazy grasshopper. But Flick has seen enough, and he stands up to Hopper. This unfortunately makes things worse. You see, the queen was worried because Hopper is insisting that the ants gather the food all over again for the grasshoppers to eat, but she's like, "Hey, wait a minute, this is the time of year when us ants need to gather food for ourselves." Hopper is now extra annoyed that one of the ants stood up to him because he already suspected Princess Ada of having an attitude. So he says, "Hey, you know what? Screw you guys. I'm going to make you get double the food." So all the ants are really upset with Flick now. They're convening like a tribunal to figure out what to do with him. Flick comes up with the idea for someone to go to the city and get an army of bigger bugs to help the ants hold off the grasshoppers so they don't starve when the rainy season comes and they have to stay inside. The other ants think he's nuts, and Princess Ada is like, "That'll never work. Whoever went to get help will be gone for weeks." And the other leadership bugs are like, "Hey, Princess Ada, that's a great idea." So they're all like, Flick, we think that you should do it so you can get out of our hair and leave us alone and not mess anything up." So Flick is happy to have the responsibility and he leaves. Dot is hopeful that he'll do okay, though the other ant kids are like, "Yeah, he's gonna die." Flick goes to the city, which looks like a shed in some guy's yard, which is kind of funny. While he's on his way there, we get introduced to P.T. Flea, and his troupe of circus performers. There's Dim, a blue rhino beetle who's supposed to be ferocious. Rosie, the spider who's kind of like his lion tamer. Then there's also Heimlich, a caterpillar who likes to eat, but he really wants to be a butterfly. Slim, a walking stick bug who is tired of playing stick props. Francis, the male ladybug who's a feisty hothead. Manny and Gypsy, the praying mantis and moth who do a disappearing act. And Tuck and Roll, the pill bug performers who speak nonsense words. The circus is not doing too well, and part of the problem is the act itself. Dim and Rosie's act results in Dim getting an injury And Francis gets heckled by a couple of fruit flies in the crowd about how he's a ladybug, even though he's a dude, and in general things are not going well, and the few audience members are about to ditch. So P.T. Flea suddenly yells, "Flaming death!" And everyone turns around, of course. P.T. Flea explains the plan for this act, which is risky and seems to involve a bug getting stuck to flypaper maybe, while a train of matches is on fire and about to burn the bug alive, unless a blindfolded Rosie can make a web to catch the bug in a limited amount of time. Doesn't seem very safe. Tuck and Roll are having a scuffle when the timer starts, and suddenly every aspect of the act goes wrong, and ultimately P.T. Flea is stuck to flypaper, about to burn to a crisp. It's looking kind of scary. So he manages to get himself off the paper, that's good, but the paper falls off and there's a big flame, and P.T. Flea gets burned to a crisp like something out of Looney Tunes. He's really upset and says to the other circus bugs that they're all fired. So right as Flick arrives, the circus bugs are sitting in a bar being unemployed and not knowing what to do. Flick is trying to be sure of himself and not come across as a country bumpkin because this is his first time in the city. The fruit fly goons from the audience show up at the bar, which is a problem for Francis because they got a big guy with them who could probably cause some damage. So Francis improvises and gets Slim and Heimlich to help him out with something called the Robin Hood Act, where they're putting on a scene acting like Robin Hood and Little John, where Slim plays Robin Hood's sword. That's pretty funny. Things go awry during this act too, and the bar gets knocked off balance and rolls around. So right as Flick arrives, he just sees the beginning of the act and the end after the chaos when the fruit flies seemingly got their butts kicked by the circus bugs. Flick doesn't know these guys are circus bugs, not warrior bugs. So he thinks they're a group of ferocious and righteous warriors who would be perfect for his grasshopper fighting initiative. The circus bugs also get a wrong impression. They think Flick is a talent scout, able to get them all a new acting gig that they desperately need. Everybody is wrong, but they think they've all got a solution to their problems. Plus the fruit flies are waking up and they're about to be pretty mad, so it's time to go. So they all fly away, and Flick of course tells the whole story to Tuck and Roll, who have no idea what he's saying because they don't speak English. Meanwhile, the ants are getting tired and suffering in the heat, so they're worried that they're not going to make quota before the grasshoppers come back at the end of the season. So everyone's pretty surprised and hopeful when Flick comes back with the circus bugs. Dot especially is really excited because it looks like Flick came through. At first, all the ants are scared of the circus bugs because they're all way bigger than the ants and they're different. Princess Ada's like, wait, Flick actually got a bunch of new friends to help? This wasn't supposed to work. Even the queen is impressed. All the ants who thought this was a crazy idea are suddenly on board. The circus bugs see them deliberating and they're worried about losing a gig. So Francis makes a big announcement that when your grasshopper friends get here, we are gonna knock them dead. Oh boy. You gotta wonder how long it will take before everybody realizes it's a big misunderstanding. Pretty much right away, the ants hold a celebration in honor of their new warrior allies, and it's pretty funny. A bunch of kid ants show the circus bugs a really graphic mural showing their gory upcoming battle against the grasshoppers. Then another group does a skit about how there's a war and bugs like die in battle, so all the circus bugs get freaked out and they try to just quietly dip out. Flick realizes that they're all circus bugs and he stops them on their way out. He's really upset and he doesn't know what to do since the circus bugs are not down to fight a battle, but Flick knows that if this falls through, he will never live it down ever. So he gets desperate and pleads with them, and Dot sees him pursuing the bugs, so she goes after them too. But the bugs suddenly turn around since there's a bird and the bird wants to eat them. Oh no! Dot is in danger now, and Francis also falls and he's out cold. So the circus bugs improvise to distract the bird and get Dot and Francis out of there. It gets chaotic and multiple circus bugs almost get got. First Heimlich almost gets chomped, then Gypsy, then Flick, but eventually they get to a thorn bush and the bird has to give up the chase. The ants see this and they're really excited. The circus bugs are heroes and they got applause. Francis is a little grumpy when the kids refer to him as their den mother, but he'll get over it eventually. Princess Ada pulls Flick aside and thanks him. She's worried that nobody takes her seriously yet and that everybody is waiting for her to screw up. Flick can relate to this because everyone's got low expectations of him. But Princess Ada feels that he really did them a service and she wants Flick to be the ants' official liaison to the warrior bugs. She's impressed because they escaped a bird and she says, even Hopper's afraid of birds. Flick gets really excited because now he's got a plan, and he even kisses Princess Ada on the cheek on the way out. Flick realizes the solution. The circus bugs are liking how their escapades are leading to appreciation and applause, and Flick really needs this whole situation to work out, so he talks the bugs into pitching a plan to the ants about building a fake bird to scare off Hopper and the other grasshoppers. Now here's the thing. It's a risky endeavor because this is really Flick's idea, and the ants have a pretty low opinion of his inventions. But if the warrior bugs pitch it to the ants, then they'll say yes to it. Princess Ada endorses the idea, putting her reputation on the line as a new leader who's trying something different. So far, so good. Construction on the fake bird goes well, everyone's getting along, and Francis is even embracing his new role as den mother. Also, I think based on the way Flick looks at Princess Ada, that he likes her. They get the fake bird completed and hoisted up and set. This is looking pretty good. Keep in mind though that while the ants have been doing this, they have not been harvesting any grain at all, so they do not have a fallback plan. Elsewhere, the grasshoppers are hanging out at like a Mexican flavored bar for some reason. They're bullying mosquitoes, and Molt has an idea to pitch to Hopper. One of the other grasshoppers says, "Oh hey Molt, you're Hopper's brother, so that makes you like the vice president of the gang." Molt proposes that they all just don't go back to Ant Island at all, since they're having a good time at the bar and they don't actually need more grain this year. Hopper seems to go along with the idea at first, but he points out that one ant stood up to him. He takes one grain out of the bottle dispenser and chucks it at a nearby grasshopper. It doesn't do anything. He does it again. They all laugh. Then he unleashes the whole bottle and buries the grasshopper. Yeesh. Hopper makes a quick speech about how for any ant to feel they can stand up to grasshoppers and get away with it is a problem. Because, as he says it, those puny ants outnumber us 100 to 1, and if they figure that out, there goes our way of life. Uh-oh. Back in Ant Island, the bugs are feeling pretty good. Flick says to the circus bugs, "Hey, the job's done, so you guys can leave if you want." But the circus bugs want to stay since they like it there. Princess Ada thanks Flick and the warrior bugs for their efforts, and the vibe is really good throughout the island. There's even a goofy cute part with Princess Ada and Flick where they get their antenna tangled up. So now it's time for PT Flea to rejoin the movie and ruin everything. He shows up looking for the circus bugs and he's acting all crazy. He's saying that Flaming Death was a huge hit and they gotta come back to the circus and do it all the time. He's like, "Yo, we're gonna do Flaming Death twice a night, then I'll take a day off to heal and we'll do it again the next day." That sounds really unhealthy, to be honest. But the biggest problem is that now the warrior bugs have been outed as circus bugs, and the ants are furious. They tell the circus bugs to go away, then the queen takes charge again and immediately reverses course, so they're not going to try the bird trick at all. Everyone is really mad at Flick too. The ants try to revert back to the original plan, but they can't get a whole lot of food together in time. So Hopper and his goons get mad and start terrorizing everybody. Hopper takes the queen hostage and has his grasshoppers tasked with corralling the ants into forced labor. Dot and the other scouts hide and they hear the real plan. Hopper is going to make the ants get enough food, then in order to make sure he's never challenged again, he's going to squish the queen before leaving. Oh no! Dot tries to sneak out and get help, but she has a run-in with the crazy grasshopper. It looks like she gets knocked off a cliff, but luckily she figures out how to fly. Meanwhile, the circus bugs are on the way out of town. PT Flea is in a great mood, while the circus bugs and Flick are down in the dumps. The others try to cheer Flick up by saying he could be a part of the circus act. They show him a quick act called Slapstick, where they, slap the stick. Oy vey. This is no time for dad jokes, you guys. Luckily, Doc gets there and tells them the situation, so now it's time for them to turn around. The circus bugs say they should use the bird, but Flick is now all down about the bird because he thinks he's a failure and nobody should ever listen to him. But the circus bugs give him a pep talk about how his involvement has been good for them and they believe in the bird. Flick doesn't get cheered up right away, so Doc gets through to him and now Flick's got his mojo back. First thing they gotta do is neutralize PT Flea. So they take care of that, then they go back to the ant colony and they see that things are not so good. So they form a plan. First, Flick and Dot recruit the scouts to their cause. Then the circus bugs show up and Hopper is like, what the heck is this? Squish him. But Tuck and Roll start fighting in front of Hopper and he thinks that's funny, so he lets them stay. While the circus bugs perform their act, Flick quietly leads Dot and the other scouts up the tree to unleash the fake bird. While Flick and the kids get the fake bird ready, Manny and Gypsy start the disappearing act with the queen as their volunteer. The other ants figure out what's going on, but they all stay quiet because the fake bird is now their best shot at getting rid of the grasshoppers. Everything is going to plan at first, but the rock that's supposed to release the bird gets stuck. Hopper realizes the queen has actually disappeared, and he smells a rat. I mean a missing ant. You guys know what I mean. So this is a good time for the fake bird to be released. It's going well at first. All the grasshoppers are getting scared and the ants are going along with the plan. So far so good. Some of the bugs even make a show to Hopper faking injuries from the bird. But the commotion gets PT Flea loose and he uses some lighter fluid and a match to set the bird on fire. The whole thing goes haywire and Flick has to abort the mission in order to get the kids to safety. Now Hopper is really mad. He grabs Dot and demands to know whose idea this was. Flick stands up to Hopper, but the crazy grasshopper beats him up on Hopper's orders. Hopper makes an angry speech about how ants should not have ideas and their role in life is to serve grasshoppers. But Flick rejects this. He's proud of how the ants somehow pick food for 2 species every year, and he points out that the grasshoppers need the ants, not the other way around. Hopper goes to squish Flick, but now all the ants and the circus bugs are standing up to them. Princess Ada says there's now a new way of doing things. The ants pick the food, the ants keep the food, and the grasshoppers leave. That's how it should be. Get your own food. The Ants Rebellion is a success, and honestly, it doesn't even take that long. They're about to shoot Hopper out of the cannon, but then the rain comes and everybody's got to run for cover. Rain may not be scary for you and me, but for these bug dudes it can be a real problem because they're small. Hopper grabs Flick and flies off, and the circus bugs pursue them, but Hopper still manages to lose them until Princess Ada shows up and grabs Flick. She's trying to take Flick to safety, but Flick knows that they gotta settle this once and for all, so he gets the princess to take them somewhere off Ant Island. Hopper lands, and he's about to kill Flick, but then the bird shows up. Hopper thinks the bird is another fake one, but he's wrong. This is the real bird. It picks him up, and it's going to feed him to its kids, and Hopper is descending toward the kid birds with their gaping maws, and it's honestly kind of horrifying. Now that Hopper's gone, the ants are having a pretty good time. A lot of them are using Flick's inventions to harvest grain faster and enjoy leisure time. There's a funny bit where Molt has defected from the other grasshoppers because he wants to join the circus. The ants are grateful, and everybody says their farewells, but not before everyone also gives Flick a big round of applause. The circus bugs leave, but they realize they forgot Heimlich. But it's okay, because now he turned into a butterfly, and the ants even use their Flick inventions to make the ejector function into grain fireworks. And all is well. A Bug's Life is a really good movie about characters who work together to rid themselves of freeloading goons and learn to take pride in what they are good at. It's fun, it's got some good jokes and likable characters. Overall, this movie is good for kids!